What is going on, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Urban Pitch Podcast, the beautiful game of life, part of the Believe Network. I'm Ramsey Abushala, editor of UrbanPitch.com. Unfortunately, our Nomar, the director of Vibes, Julio Monterosa, he's out today, my normal co-host on the show, but we do have a very special guest co-host. You might remember him from a couple episodes back. Gilbert Bida, the man, the myth, the legend, is in the house. He's filling in for our guy Julio. Gilbert, what's going on, man? It's great to have you on. It's great to have you back,
man. Thank you.
It's great to have you back. You know, we waterproofed the couches and everything, so it's all good. But
burn already.
Yeah, no. All right. I'll back off. But we do have some a couple of very special guests along with the guest co-host. They are, well-rounded, very well-rounded, multi-talented. They're pro freestylers. They're Urban Pitch resident pros. They're social media extravaganza. Like they got the whole package. We got Caitlin Shepard and Lizzie Calderon. Thank you guys so much for coming on the show.
Of course, I like all the titles. You know, it makes me feel special.
We gotta put the multi-hyphenates. You know what I mean?
I like it.
We can't put you in one box. You know what I'm saying?
Just keep hyping it up. It makes me feel good.
I'll take it.
Yeah. So we every once in a while we'll do one of these episodes. We'll have our good friends on the show. You guys. Obviously, we go way back. Gilbert himself was on one of these a few months ago now with Bridget. So before we get into the thick of things, before we get into some of the topics, do you guys want to just give a little bit of background on yourselves, how you guys met? Because you guys, I think, might even predate the Urban Pitch. Pitch days? I don't even know, but how did you guys meet? What got y'all into freestyle?
Rewinding.
We're turning back the clock.
Roll back. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, you're testing our memory here. I'm gonna let you go first, Croissant.
Yeah. So
I don't remember, but you go ahead.
I'm just like, are you sure you want to tell the story? No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
okay.
No, I've been freestyling since I was 17. Came off from an injury, just like a lot of freestylers do. Found freestyle through that. Met a bunch of freestylers, and one of them happened to be Caitlin. I didn't meet her until I was about 18. It was a year into. I was just barely starting to juggle. And at that point, God, I can't believe it. At that point, Caitlin still had a bun. She was still freestyling with the bun.
We're not going to bring that back.
There was no braid. It was just all bun.
Oh, no.
But it was so much fun. It was just her and me just really being the first few here in California and the LA scene. And she was my mentor through it as well. So it's just the community was really open at that time and went through a lot of ups and downs and just kind of getting to know everything. But Caitlin was my support system, kind of being through it. Being the only other girl in the freestyle scene at the time.
Yeah. That's a heartwarming story.
I'm hey, Ramsey, did you bring some tissues? It's about to get ready.
Start crying, everybody. Don't start crying.
I know. Yeah, like Liz said, I started freestyling maybe 6 months, if a year earlier than her, so not that much longer. But I really jumped 2 feet in. All the way in. I was very much into soccer at the time. I was a goalkeeper, so that's the fun fact. I was a goalkeeper, and prior to freestyle, I fully intended to go pro with goalkeeping. No matter how much people said my height would be an issue, they're like, "You're too short. It's not gonna work."
Well, and you went to Whittier too, and they don't.
Hey, you know what, Ramsey? We already have words.
I'm over here 5'3", and she's I'm the short goalkeeper. I'm like, okay.
Today's episode is brought to you by Bet Online. Our friends at Bet Online continue to be the #1 source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all of the latest odds, news, and sports development, including this year's basketball championship finals, the NHL Hockey Conference Finals, Major League Baseball, the latest fighting news, and even next season's early NFL futures. Head over to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to get in the action. Bet Online, where the game starts. I do feel and this might be wrong since I'm on the outside of the sport, but I feel it's the growth has a little bit stagnated, a little bit. It's maybe plateaued. So where do you think freestyle is at now, and why do you think after that growth between those 2017 to 2019, where Super Bowl is breaking records every single year, why do you think it's where do you think it's at now, and why do you think it's kind of slowed down a little bit?
So I have a number of different answers, so I'm gonna let you go first.
Yeah. So the sport has definitely grown since we first started competing.
Yeah.
I remember competing in a group where it was just top 10 girls, but there was really only 10 girls competing. So and now it's just like the female side is really girl owned. But I think it's really plateaued because of the popularity behind the sport. So now a lot more of the younger generation is very focused on ranking, getting the most followers on TikTok, getting the brand partnerships. There's more of the commercial side versus the older freestylers.
Purists.
They saw like the commercial side as just like, wow, you're not hardcore because you're not competing and actually gaining the titles behind it. So it's like the younger generation has really ranked brand partnerships, the commercial side of it, more than the competition side for sure. So that's definitely why I see like it's competition-wise is really plateaued because the focus has changed as what we consider success in freestyle now.
Yeah, and
There's a shortcut. You don't have to go to competition if you can do something really nice.
exactly.
Yeah.
And honestly, the most viable way to continue freestyling is to do commercial work. So as a result of all of those younger freestylers getting the jobs, the older freestylers who actually compete can't live off freestyle. They can't continue to train and things like that. So then they end up doing something else. So then the competition levels keep fluctuating.
Yep.
Interesting. And I feel like Caitlin, you've
Go ahead.
you've existed in both lanes. Lizzie, you as well. We're doing competing and the commercial side. So I think where it's a sport that's very individual and it's unique in that sense where like there's more opportunities, at least I feel like, to get paid and to make a living off the sport by really going for those commercial deals. And, you know, because there's might not necessarily be as much work that needs to go into, you know, whereas competing, I mean, when you're competing, you need to be like hardcore, like training every single day, you know, have to have a regimen, you're doing all these routines that you have to perfect. And whereas, you know, you can make a really cool video for a brand and be like, you know, knock it out in a few hours and get paid probably more than what you would have gotten paid if you won the competition. So,
Hands down.
Hands down.
right. So like, so how does that work? And how do you kind of balance between both sides? What are your guys' thoughts? Are you like kind of purists or do you see yourselves in the middle of that? Like where,
Yeah, I have a unique perspective on this, so I'm gonna let Caitlin go first.
Straight to the real.
We've
It's
had
your
several
turn.
conversations about this.
Yeah.
So personally, I see it as, you know, we always kind of talk about what exactly is a freestyler, what makes you a true freestyler. And some people say it's competing, some people will say it's however many hours you put into the sport. For me personally, I think it's knowing who you are and what you want to do with freestyle. So like, do you want to be a competitive freestyler? What level do you want to get to? And after that. So for me, it's, you can do commercial work. I think it's great. I think you need to do commercial work in this day and age to be a true freestyler. You need to make the money off of it, but you also need to think about the sport and put the sport as a priority as well, because so many times we get freestylers who make money, they make it big, and then they just vanish.
Right.
And then they're just social media faces or things like that. But it's really like contributing back to the sport in order to create the growth that we've gotten to now.
Yeah, I think that's like where the sport came from originally was everybody was so invested in the community and growing it together.
Right.
So it was just like everybody knew everybody, no matter what level you were at, everybody was willing to exchange best practices with you, train with you to help each other grow. Versus now, I think it's really evolved. Everybody's just like, I want to keep everything to myself because I want the success for me.
Interesting.
And I think like it's because of the whole fact that now with social media, going viral, all that type of stuff, there's a lot more of what I like to say is like your talent gets you through the door, but your character keeps you in the room. And a lot of the new generation, when it comes to freestyle, is very focused on like, talent is going to get me through the door, and they forget about the character. It goes out the window.
Is there any beef that you guys have with other freestylers? Has there ever gotten, if it's ever come like to where like, no, I don't mess with that person, this person did
I
this?
mean, I think it's just like, it's not so much like beef with freestyle. It's just like, we just don't agree on the same mentality where I think one of the biggest divisions between the older freestylers and the newer ones is what gets you respect as a freestyler and what they consider a pro freestyler, because the concept has really changed over time, where it's just like back then it was just who can pull up the most hardcore tricks, and it was very lower base style, versus now it's just like it's hard. People are finding it hard to compete because there's so many different people now getting to the creative style, and it's just like, okay, how do you kind of judge that now? So it's just like there's more arguments like head to head and butt heading with just like, no, you're right, no, you're wrong, you're right. So it's not like not so much like I won't talk to you. It's more just like we just don't agree on the same thing.
Yeah. And it'll always be the same arguments repeated every single time.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, 99% of them will respect that there are differences of opinions.
Yeah.
They might go and like talk behind your back, but then like when you go and talk again, like they'll say it to your face. And
So it doesn't get personal ever?
I mean, not with us. There's been personal arguments,
I was hoping-
but
I think-
I'll give it some drama. Here's one thing I will share. Here's one
Here we
thing
go.
I'll share.
This is what we came for. This is what we came for.
So get into the
Pull out,
juicy
get
stuff.
everybody out, right?
So originally when I first met Kate, obviously we're the only first ones in the LA scene. So when we first started, being the first female in that scene, everybody was pitting us against each other.
oh my god.
So I thought she hated me, and she thought,
Damn,
you know,
they try to
vice
Nicki
versa.
versus Cardi B.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and the
Yeah.
funniest part is we never spoke to each other.
never.
Yeah, we never spoke to each other. We never even made extended eye contact, but we were convinced the other person hated you.
Wow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it took I knew her for about a year or two before I finally we hashed it out in person. She was the one who actually asked me because I was nervous because I was just like, I need your help, follow this. And she was nice enough. She was just like, come here. She took me under her wing. And we realized that we were finally having some type of friendship, but there was still a lot of stuff in the air that needed to get cleaned out. So Caitlin, she was just like, all right, we gotta hash this out.
This is so my personality.
What did you hear? And this is what I heard. And I was just like,
Just lay it on me.
Okay. And I was like, are you sure you want to have this conversation? She's like, we gotta have this if we want to continue growing our friendship. And so we did. And then finally 2 years later, we hashed out everything. I realized that this whole entire time she didn't hate me. It was just people were pitting us against each other.
Cool. So there's an upcoming competition that both of you guys are supposed to end up going. But Caitlin, you're going to Miami for is it WFFA Open?
It is the
Oh, God, sorry.
Oh, so it's called the Daytona
I
Soccer
was
Fest.
like, I know it, but I don't know it.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, you knew exactly where I was coming from there.
So technically speaking, it's in Daytona in Florida, and the finals are taking place on the Daytona 500 racetrack, which is kind of one of the drawing points.
It's like old school.
Yeah,
Doing the
it's
track.
it's called the Daytona Soccer Fest. So there's a whole festival around the competition as well. And it's the WFFA is putting it on, and it's technically taking place in the U.S., but it's internationally open. So there are, I believe, competitors coming from abroad.
That's going to be exciting. Yeah.
Why are you not going?
So here's what happened, everybody. So I have always dealt with a knee injury, and recently I was at the gym trying to get back into my fitness, and I hurt myself doing squats. And I was actually on crutches about a month ago, and after that, I told her, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna compete in this one. So it was just at the beginning of the month, we had decided. She was like, all right, let's go trade. And during trading, I realized I could not. After day one, my knee was just swollen. So I was like, I can't compete this soon. So my plan and my goal is to compete at next Super Bowl, because this one I don't think my knee's gonna be ready for this year, but next year is gonna be the goal to compete.
So what goes into when you have that competition? You have it circled on your calendar. What's the preparation like? How often are you training? Whether it's working out at the gym, doing practice runs. What is that process like?
When you hit that stage, you need to be in your best shape because competition days are 3 6-hour days. They're battles which are honestly only 3 minutes. But you warm up for about an hour.
It's the longest 3 minutes.
You
of your
compete for
life.
3 minutes. You go off stage and you cool
3
down for
minutes
an
is
hour.
long. 3 minutes is long.
Oh
It
yeah,
is.
it's a 3 minute
Out of
sprint.
breath, sweating.
Yeah.
You're just did I really work out as much as I should have?
Yeah.
It's intense.
And you take a break for an hour, and then you warm up for another hour. You go on again, and it's just it's a lot of warming up and cooling down. So you really need to be in top form to even keep up, let alone show your best stuff. So by the time I hit 2 months in, it's routine training every single day for 2 hours. And honestly, that's the worst part of freestyle. It's the worst. I hate that.
If you ever want to compete and train for a competition and you want to survive, don't train with Caitlin. And I say this from experience.
The rivalry we were talking about is here.
Yeah.
Here's what happened to me when I was training for one of my competitions. This is actually before one of her bigger injuries. We were actually supposed to compete together finally, at Super Bowl. It was gonna be my return after a year off, and Caitlin killed me during training. I was just I'm ready to train hour 2 every day. I think I was training like 8 hours every day because of this girl.
Yeah.
It was insane. And it was just like a month before, and it was like months preparation. All I knew was eat, sleep, and freestyle, and Caitlin in my face, like, you gotta go, you gotta go, you gotta
she
go.
said, I want to be in competition shape, and I said, okay, you're gonna hate me by the end of it, but let's get you there.
Drill sergeant.
Oh yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah, you don't know, your legs are tired.
People kind of wonder, like, what makes you good? It's just, you see, it's the practice.
Hours.
You have to,
The process.
do a lot of work. You got to be involved in it in order to actually step out of your shadows.
Yeah.
But please go ahead, Ramsey. Don't let me take over your show.
No, bro. This is why you're here. You're here.
I know.
You're here.
Here's the looks, Ramsey. You gotta be clear.
Yeah.
No, we're good. We're good, man. We're good. Okay, so we did the competition side of things. We did the quote unquote purist stuff. So I want to talk about some of the business side of things where we're doing commercial, because obviously that's a huge part of freestyle, as we've talked about. But how is that navigating the business side of things for both of you? Because I've seen we've done a couple of things together, but I know you also have stuff on the side, working with illustrious brands and whatnot. So what was that like, navigating the business scene? What were some of the lessons you learned, and how what was that experience like for you guys?
Jumping onto a bike with no training wheels, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I mean, you start so young. Like,
Yeah.
I had my first gig when I was about 18 years old, and I was blessed as somebody pushed me, and they're like, here's a casting, just do it. And I was just like, I don't know if I'm even gonna get it. And I just did it, ended up getting it, and it was like I think my first one was like with Powerade. And I was like just in a random commercial with them. And the next one was Adidas, and it just like building all those connections, but you go in without any experience of how to negotiate, how to speak up for yourself.
Yeah.
You're literally just on your own. So they really kind of put you, okay, here's how you got to network. You got to learn on your own, build those connections and relationships in the long run. So you learned a lot on the business side. It's just like how to fight for yourself.
Right.
And I think one of the biggest lessons I learned over time is that there's always going to be brands who want more of you, but at some point you got to set your value. And even if you don't have so much experience, you got to set what your worth is at that point, because then everybody's going to want to take without giving you anything, and then your growth is stunted at that point.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's a lot of just process of trial and error, honestly, because I didn't have a business background, and like I said, it's the only job I've ever had.
Yeah.
So I jumped in as a teenager, and it was really just, I sat there and I watched what everyone else did, because there's a lot of different personalities, a lot of different age groups in the team that I worked with in the beginning, and I would kind of watch how they navigate, see what I liked, what didn't, try different things for me, and it was just learning of what you accept, what people offer, and what you're worth, as Liz said.
Right.
Yeah.
And you need to differentiate that, because so many people, their first mistake is you take exactly what's given to you. No. You know more than anybody else how much work you put in, how much effort it takes, and how hard it is on you.
Yeah.
And if other people put themselves in your shoes, they would value what you do more.
Right.
And so you need to communicate that to them. That's not necessarily a fault of theirs, but that's just something that's not communicated enough. And if it was to be done, I definitely think there would be more work, there would be better paid work, and the'd be a lot more opportunities with freestyle.
Yeah, you can't take that first offer, right? Yeah.
Ever.
No matter what.
Learn that the hard way.
Ramsey, I need to text you again.
I mean, my first show,
Oh my god.
first show, I got $50. And I was 17 years old, and I was like, oh my God, I'm getting money for this?
I know, right?
And it's so different now to look back on. And the only thing I want to do moving forward is teach all the other freestylers, you don't have to accept that.
Yes.
Even if you're new, you don't have to accept that.
True.
Yeah, because
I
it's
think
just so easy to get excited. It gets like when a brand wants to work with you, you're just like, oh my gosh, like you're going through the motions of it, like of the excitement. You want to get engaged with them and start building all these connections. But then by taking that first one, you're setting up yourself for failure if you don't at least try to negotiate. Because in the next one, they're going to hear about it, how you negotiated, what they paid you for and everything. And it's just like you get stuck in that cycle if you just start taking what they give you when you deserve a lot more with the hours you put in. So it's crazy. It's crazy.
This guy knows.
I'm here just nodding my head. I'm like, yes.
It's just like, yes, I'm doing it right now.
Because it's true. Because the thing is, you could easily get yourself stagnant or stuck in a certain position where you can't get out. And one of the ways you can do that is by being excited. So sometimes it's good to take a pause and ask yourself if this is the right move. Do you really want to do this? Is it worth your time? And things like that. So you know, as you guys started from 50 bucks to now a lot more.
Yeah.
You know, so the 50 bucks was an excitement. So now after that, you understood your value, and then moving forward, you now know how to, you know, when somebody comes to you, hey, I want you to do a commercial, you're like, are you giving me 5,000 for this?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And they're like, no, we kind of had this in budget, and then you set your standards, and you meet halfway, you don't meet halfway, and you decide if it's good for you or it's not good for you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and starting so young, you know, obviously maybe you might have gotten taken advantage of a little bit, or you might have got burned. What were some of the lessons you had to learn the hard way?
Oh, I really want to name names.
Oh.
I want to.
We don't want to burn any bridges, but at the same time, you know, we want like we have receipts here.
Oh my gosh. Good first.
Oh yeah, I mean one of the first things that I think a lot of especially young freestylers learn is that, you know, freestyle is technically the entertainment industry. It's sports,
right.
it's entertainment,
Yeah.
and so there are often managers and like people who manage freestylers, manage teams and things like that. But because it's not a technical part of the entertainment industry, it's kind of like on the fringe. There's not really regulations to it. There's no rule saying this is how much you pay this is how much you take for like commission and things like that. So if you don't learn to ask those questions, you're gonna get taken advantage of. Like in the beginning, you know, I would get paid like $50, and then I'd find out that they were making $5,000 off of what I was doing.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it took me.
So managers or the brand was making $5.
No, the managers. The managers. So
Wow.
they would do that, and you didn't see the check because it went to them. So I never found out until like years down the line. Somebody finally asked, and I went, wait. I might not be business savvy at this point, but something doesn't seem right.
Yeah, I know. I'm
Numbers
like,
are adding up.
Yeah.
Damn, not Rolex.
I know.
I'm sorry.
Why are you pulling up in a Lambo, bro? What's going on? We've been working out together.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that's crazy. But you guys also give back to, you know, to the community and whatnot, right? Mm-hmm. So can you walk us through things like those? You've given back to your community, taught some youths and whatnot.
Yeah, I think that's one of the best parts. Is I've always been on the teeter-totter with like half foot in freestyle and half still in soccer. So originally when I was still growing up and trying to learn the sport, I was coaching on the side.
Right.
So I was coaching like high school. I was a program coordinator for like this program for like toddlers.
Soccer
so I was,
for tots or something.
yeah,
like that?
yeah.
I
It was
remember
called
that.
Little Kickers.
Little Kickers.
Little Kickers.
Yeah.
I was like program
Soccer
coordinator
for
for theirs.
toddlers.
So I was
Same
like,
thing.
they're
I
just
know, I
the
get
cutest little babies. But on top of that, in the freestyle world, like I was teaching some kids freestyle. On top of that, like soccer skills. And then I think one of the best experiences I ever had in my life, and I always say it every single year when January comes around, right after New
year.
Year's, you'll see it on my
is it
Instagram.
Jamaica?
Yes, Jamaica.
Best thing we've ever done.
Oh gosh, and it was all thanks to Caitlin. She worked with them a year or two prior.
Did she get 5,000 and you got 50 bucks?
We're not going to talk about that right now.
So like she was working with Football for the World. Monica, shout out to you, girl. I absolutely love that program. She brought me on and asked like, hey, Caitlin's like, hey, I'm actually gonna go to Jamaica. We're gonna do this whole charity thing. And I had like an idea of what we were doing. And it was my first time kind of like traveling to Jamaica and doing a whole week of this type of workshop style. So I had an idea, but once I got there, it was just completely not what I expected. And I was just like, I remember leaving and I was just like, Caitlin and I were just in tears my first year. I was just like, I did not want to leave. I did not want to leave these kids. It was a whole different experience that I can't even describe. So every single year, come January, that first week, I'm just like, I just want to go back to Jamaica.
Need to be in a beach in Jamaica.
Exactly. I was just like, I want to go back, see those kids, be at Dehaney Park.
I've been back, I think, 4 times.
Wow.
Every single year. So 4 years, and you only see them for a week. And I'll have these kids run up to me and go, hey, Miss Caitlin, do you remember me from the last year? I still know all the tricks. And I followed you on your social media and I learned another trick. And I just sit there and I go, I could do this for the rest of my life. I really could.
But you, Caitlin, you mentioned earlier that you're part of the entertainment industry, and you know, obviously, growing you know, an audience and having, you know, a bunch of followers on social media, you get labeled as, you know, quote unquote influencer, right? So that's another part. Obviously, that's a huge part of freestyle and what that brings. So there's like a some negative connotations with the influencer label, which I don't think are all the way fully they're validated. But what are some of the misconceptions? And because there's obviously a lot of work that goes into that stuff. You know, it's a full-time job, and it is truly. I mean, because I think it's so new that it's not as respected as, like, say, an accountant is, but
absolutely.
you know what I mean. But like,
Yeah.
but
On
there's
behalf of all the influencers, Caitlin, this is for you.
no, both of you guys, because you guys both do this.
No,
you guys
hey,
both
hey.
do this
Yeah.
stuff.
I agree.
Yeah, but
I'm gonna let her go first because in this case, I have my feet in both worlds.
right.
Yeah.
So what kind of work goes into that, and what are some of the misconceptions that you've seen people put onto you, Lizzie, and Caitlin too?
I think one of the biggest things is the misunderstanding of what work consists of. Because I think one of the biggest things I hear, and I think one of the things that's driven me to continue in freestyle, is hearing from older generations, I hate my job. I don't want to work today. I'm looking forward to the weekend. I don't want to do this work. And the first thing I can remember saying to myself is, I never want to sound like that. I want to do what I love for the rest of my life. And so really, like, one of the things you see is influencers, they love what they do. And so when you talk about it, you don't talk about it like it's work. You talk about it like it's a blessing. You talk about it like you are lucky to be here and to continue doing this. And so people go, oh, that's not hard. That's not work. You must be lazy. You know, you're not really doing the difficult things in life. And so I think a lot of people are under this misconception that, you know, influencers are lazy, they're shallow, they don't really put their effort into anything. They're not hard workers. And I definitely think it's untrue, because I think work just takes on a different appearance when it comes to our work.
Yeah. I like, the reason I have a unique perspective on this is because I was in the full-time influencer work, and I was just like Caitlin, working basically just social media, freestyle, that was it. But I stepped out of that world and I jumped into corporate, where I do have a 9 to 5 and I love what I do. So that's what I say, there's like this fine line where it's just the influencer work. I'm glad that I was in it because I understand both worlds.
Right.
Because influencer work, there is a stigma where people don't realize the work that it takes to get into it. You have to learn how to edit for yourself. You have to be so disciplined to schedule out posts for yourself, schedule out what type of content you want to create, all that type of stuff that goes into it. People don't realize that, and they just think, I'm just putting out my phone and doing whatever the freak I want.
They're for edits.
Exactly. They're just like, this girl's like doing TikToks for an hour, not realizing she's trying to build a business. And then on the corporate side, on my end, it's just like, I also understand the other side, because I was in the influencer world, and for me, full-time influencer work was just not my thing. I realized I personally found out that I wasn't disciplined enough to do that work. And that's why I have so much respect for the people who can, because it takes a lot of energy and mental focus to stay focused and not just sit on the couch and watch TV and Netflix all day.
Sounds nice though.
It does sound nice. That's why I was just like, I found the joy later on a different side of the business, on the marketing side, where I'm the type of person, I started there and I found my passion in a different way, where I still really enjoy the influencer side, but it's not my predominant thing. I focus on the things and the aspects that I really enjoyed, and I can still do without like sighing and just like, I'm tired of this type of thing. Because for me, it was the opposite. At some point, I got burnt out, like a lot of influencers do, where it turned to be like a 9 to 5, and that whole aspect of people saying like, I'm waking up just to do this all over again, and I'm not finding any joy in it. Versus now I'm doing a 9 to 5, but I love my job.
I think
just
it's
to find that balance.
I don't mean to take away from you, but I agree with what you both are saying, especially when you say it's something that you love. You hate to hear your friends say, "Oh, I hate my job." Yep. I think not everybody is meant to be an influencer.
Exactly.
Oh, absolutely.
And not everybody
Exactly.
is meant to work. You know, work.
Yeah.
That means like working for somebody or working on your own or whatever. Because it takes a lot. When somebody sees a 5-second video, they don't know what it takes.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know,
Just,
like you say,
I'm trying to make TikToks for that stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
I want the behind the scenes.
it is like exhausting, man. Like,
It is.
because like you're like scrolling with your thumb and like you're like timing everything.
It's like 100 takes for 5 seconds.
I wanted to throw
Yeah.
my phone into the freaking wall, dude. Like it's not easy. Like
And you can't tap out of it. Like, you know, there's no clocking out when it's
Right.
that kind of work.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
It takes a lot. It takes a lot
Takes a
of discipline too. Like
Yep.
it's hard work, but it depends on how you perceive it. Because a lot of people, it's just they're projecting. It's like, for example, you take 5 seconds, you're like, I can't do 5 seconds, I'm out. You know, and then you start hating on somebody that is taking more than 5 seconds to do it, because you maybe, for example, you failed, you feel like that person should fail too. But why are they not failing?
bro, why are you putting
know?
this on me? I
I'm not-
never said that. No. You're putting words in my mouth,
You said
bro.
5 seconds. You keep doing 5 seconds.
I think I know which side of the fence Gil sits on.
Yeah.
But,
But you know, I understand what she's saying because
Yeah.
I know what it takes to
Yeah.
make a video. It takes a
Exactly.
lot of time.
Right.
A lot of
It
time.
takes what 6 months of practice to do a 3-second or a 3-minute video,
Sure.
whatever 3-minute
Routine.
Routine.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's dedication, the hard work, and all that is involved to come out with something excellent in 3 minutes. People don't get it. You know, you have to muscle memory. You have to
Yep.
remember a lot of moves in 3 minutes to impress people or to show people this is what I can do. I can do all this.
Yeah.
But if you give me an hour, I think you could do a lot more in an hour. But in 3 minutes, a lot of routine.
yeah.
Yeah.
But please, Ramsey, continue.
No, yeah, but,
Yeah.
but yeah, so
Make
I
sure
mean-
you don't do 5 minutes.
No, dude. Why do you always like?
Okay, we appreciate your work.
Yeah.
I am. Hey, Ramsey, I'm on your side, bro. I'm on your side.
Okay,
I'm
all
on your
all
side.
But
Right.
being part and being like involved with social media all day is another exhausting thing, and people wild out on social media, right?
Yeah.
It's like there's no like you can say whatever you want. There's very rarely any repercussions. So with that in mind, what's like the wildest DM or comment that both of you guys received?
We actually talked about just doing a whole video on that in the past.
Yeah. So one of the interesting parts of like me in particular being on social media is being a female in athletics
Sure.
in a male predominant sport
Yeah.
on the internet. I have a whole
No,
folder
what could
dedicated to
possibly
this.
go wrong? What could possibly go wrong with that?
We've got
No.
so
you
many
know,
marriage
hey,
proposals.
Ramsey,
yeah.
just give her a second. She's like,
Sounds like a recipe for
She-
success.
right? She's going through like a whole list of DMs. She's like thinking right now. Okay.
I probably got husbands in like 100 different countries at this
Literally.
point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
That's a lot of
Look,
marriages.
but the DMs,
okay.
they get creative though. There
Oh,
was
some of them
one,
do.
like one that I like sticks out. Somebody just put ... and they put a soccer ball and they sent that and I was so confused.
You're
And
like,
then a
is
few
the ball
minutes later,
dribbling itself?
they're just like, oh, I don't know how this ball rolled in
Yeah.
here. And I was just like, oh, that was good. That was good.
That
I was
is
just
good.
like, wow, on brand and it's really rolling into these DMs.
Yeah.
so did you engage with that or block? Immediate
I
block?
was just like, I'm just gonna decline that.
Appreciate screenshot and nothing.
I was just
Yeah, I
like,
was like,
Caitlin,
this is good. This is good, but I don't know. This is,
I was just
Yeah.
like, I just wasn't feeling them. Sorry.
Yeah, and you know, you find people with a lot of really interesting interests.
Yeah.
In your DMs. I had a guy send me nothing but a picture of him holding a wad of 20s.
Oh god, I thought you were gonna say something else.
Oh, we're keeping this PG. There are those.
All right.
But it was just him holding a wad of 20s, and he's like, I want to see a picture of you piggybacking on someone with a ball. And I was like, but why? That's the question, but why?
I mean,
Yeah,
you
it
know,
just makes
people,
sense.
People are interested in things.
hey, it's you know we're in 2020 now. You know?
2022.
There's a lot of
Yeah, I think you what you're saying.
2 years in the past, my guy.
Hey, Ramsey, you see? I'm back. Okay, go ahead.
No, Gilbert. So Gilbert is like. He actually showed up on time today, but
Oh, wow,
Gilbert
okay.
is notoriously like you have to tell Gilbert like if like we're starting at 7, Gilbert we're starting at 6:30. So like this makes sense, you know. Like Gilbert's on his own time. He's on his own calendar.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? If that makes
Hey,
sense.
Africa time is always the best time.
African time, island time. You know, I think that this
Hey,
way.
you guys are Chris. Hey, okay, you guys had this in Jamaica, right?
Oh yeah, you
yeah.
run on island time
Yeah.
there.
Exactly. Yeah, island time. We take things in time, but relax.
That's the time I need.
But we do it right. We do it right. When we're there, we
Live
do
life
it.
Yeah,
well.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's why we keep you around. Man.
You already know. You already know.
No one else. Literally anyone else is like keeping me waiting for, like, I don't know if I've waited as long on anyone as I have with you.
Oh, no.
The fact that we, like, that's why you're
that
still
speaks for
here.
itself. That
But you're
speaks for
still here.
itself.
So you know what I mean? Like, that's
You're
all
doing
you need to
something
know.
right.
That's all
I
you need to
know.
know.
Right.
Bringing
Hey.
a lot, Gilbert.
Yeah.
You're bringing
Hey,
a lot.
see, I'm becoming an American now.
Eventually.
Eventually, right?
Eventually,
He's
right.
only like a half an hour late at this point. So.
Yeah, this wait, maybe an hour next time. If you know.
Oh
keep
man,
things in order.
so any like real like so you get proposals.
Oh yeah, legitimate proposals. I've gotten some in person too, which is honestly even weirder.
That's so weird.
Yeah,
man. That's-
That's like
Gets
That's
interesting,
so
man. It gets interesting.
Yeah, it really does. And you know, it's not just like age appropriate ones. Like they're very young to very old. And
Every.
yeah, every continent, every country. You know, we are inclusive here. At this point,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Wow,
a
It's
okay.
flattering. It's
All right,
flattering
well,
for sure.
If you have Wada 20 guys handle, just pass them out. I can
yeah.
do some piggyback. You know what I mean? Like I'm not beyond
a
that.
little bit of collaboration.
I'll do some of that stuff. You know what
I'm
I
gonna
mean?
take commission
I
off
think-
that.
Yeah,
Guys,
yeah, I'll
you're
give you
sugar
5%.
daddy.
You know, you're my agent on that.
looks like you got an agent.
Yeah, there we go. No, the other way. No, the other way. But she's gonna take advantage of
Hook it
me.
up.
I
like,
got you.
yeah, yeah.
At that point,
Yeah.
I think it's just like sugar mama
2400.
territory. But you know, we'll talk.
All right. Okay. So before we wrap things up, Julio's usually in charge of this, but we do these kind of hot seat questions where we throw put you on the spot.
Oh, no.
Throw some
Making me
questions
nervous.
your way to wrap things up. With Julio out, I'm gonna take over for him, but we'll see.
Big shoes to fill.
Yeah, there are some
Director
shoes to
vibes.
fill, but he's
I know.
director of vibes. I'm deputy director for the day. So we'll see how this goes. So starting things off, what is harder, freestyle or traditional soccer?
Ooh,
Freestyle.
freestyle.
Freestyle's harder.
Freestyle.
All right. Would you rather have more followers or more interactions?
More interactions.
All right. Who's the most famous person that's hit you up on social media?
Or a DM, actually.
No.
Oh,
it could be-
those are two different answers.
It could be a comment, could be a DM. Like, who's the most famous person?
Yeah, be specific
That's
now.
been in your mentions.
Yeah.
I worked with Jesse Lingard, Mo Salah,
Wow.
and Messi
for
on a
Adidas.
commercial.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that doesn't count. But like it needs to be someone like just like hitting you
Reached
up
out?
and like what's good.
Oh, like internet. Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Honestly, can't think. Off the top of my head.
I mean, there's been like a variety of pro
Pro
players.
players,
I'm trying to
yeah.
think of like.
One that's like more predominantly well known. I can't think of one. But I mean, interacted with a few MLS players for sure.
Yeah.
That's exciting for me because I love
always
MLS.
Yeah, we're MLS friendly on this podcast. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You're like, yeah, it doesn't have to be big. It could be small.
Yeah,
Could be-
no, I
yeah,
can't. Like,
Someone.
I feel like Caitlin would have more, but for me, I'm like, I'm a little micro. You know, MLS is as far as we'll get right now.
I mean, there have been people. I'm blanking. I think it was probably like a musician or somebody that I was really excited about because like soccer players, I always think is really cool, but like I don't get like crazy excited because
Because that's in the same industry.
yeah, you work with them.
Okay. So I didn't get a concrete answer there. I don't think.
Not
we
tonight.
we don't have great memory
Protecting
with
your
this
sources
now.
here.
Yeah.
Protecting your sources.
They saw an NDA after that.
Yeah, I know, right. All right, and last one, you got to start one, bench one, or start one, bench one, cut one. LAFC, LA Galaxy, Angel City FC.
Start Angel City,
Oh, I'm sorry. Start LAFC.
bench LAFC.
Bench Angel
Sorry,
City.
Galaxy.
And yeah,
we're
bye
Penn-
Galaxy. I'm sorry.
Penn Galaxy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Galaxy, though. No, shout out to
Yeah, no hate
a
here, but
burn
I
for
mean,
the-
like, you're put up against two of my favorites.
Yeah. Sorry. You'd have to know.
Yeah, Galaxy, I have an interesting, like, tie with all of them. Galaxy was the first team I ever worked with in the MLS. I worked with them for a couple of years. But I've been with Angel City and with LAFC since
the beginning of time,
Like, since
yeah.
the, like, idea of them came out.
Yeah.
And,
The babies.
yeah, how can you not love
smart.
them? I raised them.
I think it kind of
I
hits.
My children.
Okay, I was gonna say something different, but okay, Caitlin.
We're getting
it hits
emotional.
different because a lot of people that are part of LAFC in Angel City, I believe that exactly what you just said. They grew up with them. They saw LAFC and Angel City start. They started getting built. They saw players getting signed in. So a lot of them just grew up with LAFC now, so they're fans from the start. You know, you went to Angel City, its first game, right? At the Bank of California. Everybody was like, they won from the start. So that kind of tells you, you know, everybody's building up together with the teams. But LA Galaxy started a lot in the MLS. You know, they've done a lot.
Yeah.
So they already have their stronghold.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, you know, something new versus something that has been there.
Right.
You know?
Established.
Yeah, established.
Yeah.
So people are gonna tend to go more to what's new.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm not gonna take away from Caitlin's point.
What we can grow.
No, why do you always do that?
I'm not.
You're here for a reason, man. You don't have to apologize for what she's saying. You don't have to apologize for anything.
No, it's not an apology. It's accepting what she's saying and agreeing with her.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is so much fun.
And don't make us all cry, bro.
No, I'm not making anybody cry.
Why are you crying?
I'm not crying.
Okay, let's
You're
continue.
crying. I'm not crying. All right. Oh, wow. All right, I'm going to wrap things up now because it's getting weird. But Kate, Lizzie, Gilbert, great having you all on the show. It's, you know, we go back. Like I said, I mean, when I first started here at Urban Pitch, I think, you know, I met you on the first day. I met the whole team. So that was like 5 years ago.
Here, Gilbert.
Thanks to everybody. Thanks to everybody who's watching. Thanks to everybody who's listening. Be sure to throw us a like, throw us a subscription, throw us a comment, leave us a review, roast us, please.
Or just Ramsey.
Just
Ramsey. One of us, send Kane and Lizzie weird DMs. You know what I mean? They're working on videos.
So what happened to Julio? Is he still stuck at the bar?
So he's out for the week, but he'll be back. The director vibes will come back strong.
Okay.
But until then, it's another great episode. It's another great day. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.
Sounds good.